Hey, and we're live. Hey Chris, I see that you already joined. Welcome. All right, I'm just making sure you can see everything. Looks good. Looks pretty good. You can see most everything. All right, hey Deborah. Happy birthday. I haven't got to my birthday messages yet. I do plan on doing that, but happy birthday. You're one of the girls that I'm sending a birthday message to. Happy birthday. So glad you could join me. Just trying to make sure that this is set up all right. All right, so welcome. I'm so excited. So many people are hopping on. I'm so happy to have you join me. I don't know, I think this is the 5th or 6th episode of Come Cook With Me. And I gotta tell you, I am so thrilled to be sharing this recipe with you. So I thought I would give a little bit of a history of the recipe. But before we get started, I want to show you that I did a quick video before I actually got started with this. I did some prep work just to kind of make it a little bit easier for everyone who's joining on. So I'll go through the prep work, but I will post that little video. There's a little video that'll be attached below this after we're all done. And then that way anyone who shares it, they'll be able to grab it and it'll be forwarded too. But it'll also be covered in the video. So I told you when we were shopping this week. How many of you can give me some love, show some hearts, do some thumbs up. If you actually saw the video that I posted 2 days ago, I tried to do the shopping for our Come Cook With Me episode. I try to do it 2 days in advance so that it gives you some time to go to the grocery store and buy the things that I'm buying. Many of the things you may have in your pantry already, but I want to make sure that you actually have the things that we're going to use to actually make the recipe. So a little history of this recipe. Go ahead and do a thumbs up, heart, or raise your hand and tell me if you were this. Okay, so 30 years ago, it'll be 30 years ago in June 13th to be exact, I will have married my husband, my rock, my foundation, Brad. So I used to be that kind of cook. We were just married, learning how to cook together, and one of our favorite things when we didn't have to have what did they call it in the military? I can't see what they called it in the military. Well, I probably could because this is just Facebook, but they called it shit in the shingle or chip beef and gravy. We had a lot of beans. When we first got married, we had a lot of beans and franks. We had a lot of chip beef on toast, and I don't even know if I can even find buttock meats anymore. It's just that, it was god-awful. But, that's what we had. That's what we could do, and we did a lot of scrambled eggs, too. But occasionally we would splurge, right? And I was just learning how to cook at that time. I had a passion for cooking. I did have the ability to cook at my house when I was growing up, but not quite the way that I wanted to. And so, I don't know, I would buy a can or a jar of barbecue sauce. And then I would doctor it up. I'd put it on the stove and I would start doctoring it up. And then, I don't know, maybe 5 years into doing that, I thought to myself, I could probably just do this. This is crazy. I don't even know why I would buy a barbecue can or a barbecue jar of sauce and doctor it up to fit the things that we like, the kind of spices that we started to developing to like. So march forward, now this recipe, probably I've cooked this barbecue sauce for a solid 15 years where I make it in a batch. And it's all because of this little contraption. Well, it's not really little. It's, well, let me see. I kind of have it plugged in, but you can kind of see it's a big roasting oven. You can find these. I oftentimes, people say, where do you find that? Well, I know you can get it on Amazon, but I find it all the time at during the holiday season. It'll be at Costco, it'll be at Walmart. It's everywhere. But basically, it's a 20 quart. Take a look. And this is old, so it's got a lot of scars on the inside. It's actually clean, just has a lot of scars from using it. But it's 20 quarts, so that's really awesome. That, when I make a big of whatever, soup, sauce, barbecue sauce in this example, I'll do this. I'll cook it in this great big vat. And the reason being is because if you're going to go to the trouble of making all this wonderful, just incredible, when you go to the trouble of making it, you want to have it in big quantities so that you can freeze it, because it just freezes so well, and then it makes it so easy to pull out and serve. And I got to tell you, it's just, you're going to absolutely love this recipe. So I can't wait to hear and see all of what everyone pulls together. So let me take a moment and, oh my gosh, we have so many people joining on. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me today. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that I already did. And it took probably, it won't take you more than a half an hour to do this, but it's really essential to go ahead and do it now, because by the time you get the ingredients in this pot, you'll want to have this as part of the base as well. So before we got started, it's not hot any longer. Before I got started, and again, I made a video of this, so you'll see it. But literally, I just took this baking pan, and in the first layer, there's a layer of garlic cloves. You can see right in here. It's a layer of garlic cloves, okay? You can see those. And it's all throughout the bottom of the baking dish. And then I layered it with jalapenos, poblano peppers, and habanero peppers, and jalapenos. So I smoked them, not smoking, but I did it on started out at 325 convection oven. And when they started to sweat, and you can smell the aroma in your house when they kind of start to, they get a little shine about them. Now these have gotten a little bit deeper. But as soon as they get that shine, I turn the convection down to 275 and let it cook for about 20 more minutes. Okay, so in total it's about 30 minutes. But then when you pull it off and you let it cool, you're gonna cut these stems off, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just cut the stems off, load it in the food processor, because we're gonna just put that as the base of the vegetables right here in the bottom of the pan. It's gonna be so delicious. So that's one of the first things that we're gonna do. So I think I will just keep this tray of great stuff right here. But the other thing that I did was I had a ton of, I had 3 orange, 3 yellow, 3 red, and 3 green peppers. And I just chopped them up. And so I really wanted them, you can finely chop them, but in a barbecue sauce that's going to cook 4 to 5 hours, you can just get it just super condensed, because you really want the juice. There's a lot of liquid and juice in this. You want to just have all of that. It's just beautiful. The other thing I did was I chopped up 5 onions, and that's what we're going to actually start with. We're going to start with the onions in the bottom of this pan. So, in order to get started, I'm used to wearing my glasses on my head. So I'm going to turn my roaster oven. So this is 22 quarts, actually. I thought I said 20. So I'm starting it at about 300 degrees, 325, right around there. And it's electric, so that's the beautiful thing about it. And it's just getting warmed up. And because I know that I really like to have, it's an olive oil base, mustard, and then tomato base, and vinegar. I know that I'm going to start off, I'll just start with the pan at the bottom, and I'll start with my olive oil. So I know that I'm going to use this entire jar, so I'm just going to go ahead, I should probably peel off that top so I can just pour it in. I might not be able to do that without. So I'm just going to coat that on the bottom. I'm just going to coat it at first, but I want a full coating on the pan. And the reason being, because it's going to actually get the raw vegetables that haven't been cooked started. And the vegetables meaning the peppers and the onions. Oh, you should smell my house again. I know I say this every week, right? Someday we're going to have a smell of live Facebook. I don't know. You know it's coming around the pike, right? So I'll save the rest of that for later. And so we're going to start, let me turn that up just a smidgen. So I'm going to start with putting the onions in so they can start to saute and cook down a little. And that was 5 onions, 5. And I do Vidalia because I love the sweetness. Just move that around a little. And then all of the peppers are gonna go in. Awesome. Beautiful. Just finish that off real quick. I'm one of those that you clean and you go and your mess doesn't show. Okay, beautiful. So while that's going to start to saute, get a little spoon here. It'll start to saute. Oh yeah, you can start to hear it. You should smell the peppers. When those peppers start to sweat in the garlic, the house just smells heavenly. It's just, it's just beautiful. So I'll have to say, my husband went up to see his mother. It was Mother's Day weekend and last weekend, right? And so he went up, and his sisters, two of his sisters, got together, and his mother, and so they had barbecue ribs. So they had the last of the sauce, and he says, you know, I hope you don't mind, I'm taking the last tub of sauce. And I said, you know, no, because we already knew we were cooking it today. So that's not a problem. So while this is going to get heated up, and because I didn't get it started, I actually turned it up to about 375, just until it can start to really cook these. I'll turn it down eventually. So while that's going to get started to fry, what I'm going to do is prepare these peppers. And I am going to put my glasses on to do this because even though they have been smoked, I want to have as few juices pop up in my eye as possible. Oh, the poblano, it just is so meaty when it gets smoked like that. It's just, oh, it's just to die for. So with the poblanos, because they're so nice and big, what I'm going to do is just cut them in little strips like that, because that's really good when people can get strips of poblano, and it'll cook down even further. So I'm just going to cut them in nice little strips like that. And, you know, I left the seeds completely in the poblano as well. And let's see, I think I had about 7 poblanos total. Let's see, I can count them. That was 2 that I just did. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 poblanos. And, you know, there's no, you know me, or if this is the first time you've been watching me, I don't actually have a recipe. So if you're one that has to have a recipe, you're a cook that says, oh my God, I can't do anything without the recipe, you need to write it down. Because I actually, you know, I create these in my head, and I've done it for so long that, you know, I've learned over time what makes it taste great. Now, the thing about this barbecue sauce, you really do want to do how I did the pre-roasting, where you smoke them, get the peppers and the garlic all roasted ahead of time. It changes the flavor in a big way. It gives it more of a smoky texture, taste to the barbecue sauce. If you do it where they're raw, you can. I've done it before. But I have just learned that my preference, our family preference, and people who enjoy my barbecue sauce really think that it's like, oh, what have you done? This is so different. And so when I take the time to actually do it the right way, this way, people are like, oh, that's just crazy awesome. So, got a couple more here. Now, the habaneros, they're going to still, even though that they've been cooked in the oven, it's going to take some of the heat out of them, but they still will be hot. So for you making the sauce the first time, you're going to need to not use as many of the habaneros, and probably not as much as some of the other heavy-duty spices that we have, because you may not like your barbecue sauce too warm, too hot for the taste. Our family likes it a little warm. But what's interesting, because I use cumin, and you'll see how much we use quite a bit of cumin in this recipe. I'm going to stir this around a little. it becomes like a hot, sweet, almost savory salt. I mean, and there's no salt. I don't add salt to this whatsoever. But it's just so flavorful that, you know, people are like, what is it? What is it that makes it sweet? What is it that makes it smoky? What is it, you know, I mean, it's just, I get questions like that all the time. It's great. Love it. I got a couple of peppers in here that didn't quite get chopped, so I'm going to take those out. Okay, now that's getting really super hot. That's great. That's exactly what we want to have before I add the tomatoes to it. Okay, one more poblano. Protect my eyes. So if you have questions, Dan, hi Dan, they haven't arrived yet. It's just driving me crazy. But I'm hoping while I'm cooking that they're going to show up. So this is what I'm hoping for. But I couldn't delay getting started. For those of you who are just joining, Dan, since you're on live, why don't you share a little bit, if you don't mind, share a little bit about you and how you developed Dan O's. We have a guest who's on live right now. I'm so glad I looked up and saw that you came on, Dan. So Dan Oliver, these are his spices. Kentucky Proud right there. He's actually designed these. These are amazing. And so I have a special offer, what we're going to do at the end of the cooking show. Hang tight, because at the end, that's when I'm going to announce it. But Dan I bought a whole bunch of these for this sauce, especially. They haven't arrived yet. And I was in such a panic. I was like, oh my God, we didn't get these ordered. But hopefully while we're cooking, Dan, they'll show up. But if you want, feel free to share a little information with everybody who's joined. Just kind of give some how you designed them, because it's really a great story. And Dan Oliver is on our team. He's great. He's a chef, and well, he'll tell you the story. But fabulous, and you're going to want to get these spices. These are just phenomenal. All right, so now I am working with the jalapenos. I'm going to protect my eyes. I've got the jalapenos. They're very soft, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make a food processor of the habaneros, the jalapenos. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jalapenos in here. And I have about 10 to habanero. I don't know what the weather is like for everybody. I know a few people are kind of getting hit in the Midwest with some kind of bad storms. I hope everything is getting better for you. We're having just a glorious day. I'm so sorry if you're having bad weather, because it's just beautiful here. And I'm almost to the point where I'm cutting off too much, so I'm just going to pull these stems. I don't need to cut it. I don't want to lose all this beautiful yumminess from the habanero, from the skin. And just pull these stems off, makes it a whole bunch easier. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw the garlic in the food processor as well. It's just as easy. Oh, beautiful. That's getting nice and hot. So once these kind of get cooked down, kind of like an opaque look where the onions have kind of cooked through, that's when I'm going to add all the sauces. And I have a lot of tomato products to add to it. Okay, a couple more here. That one's stubborn, it doesn't want to come off. Seeing if there are any other questions. Okay, cool, awesome. So if you have questions, if I can see them pop up, I'll be happy to answer them. It goes by so fast when people are joining, I don't really see any of the questions. So look at these beautiful garlic cloves. Aren't those just incredible? I'm just going to pop those right into the, I want these stems. Just want the garlic cloves from this point on. So like I said, you don't want to save some of the peppers for the end because you don't know. You don't know how hot you want it, and quite honestly, I didn't taste these habaneros before I got started with them, nor did I do the jalapenos. So I'm even saving some to the end as well. Oh, boy, this garlic looks, it's heaven. It's just heaven. Smells beautiful. And what I love about it, it wasn't overcooked. So it's still got a little bit of opaque left, not shriveled up, just beautiful. And in the bottom of this pan, I forgot to mention, in the bottom of this pan, I actually used avocado oil, okay? So I just had a little fine layer of avocado oil, and then I put the layer of the garlic and then the peppers. All right, so get this guy. I don't know if you have one of these mixers, they just come in handy. They're so nice. So easy. I love how it has a quick release to it as well. So it gets into this beautiful, beautiful paste. And if you could smell this, oh my God, isn't that gorgeous? All right, so that's what we're gonna add to our peppers that are cooking so well. And you know, these will cook down in such a great way. Okay. That's all the chopping we have because I did all the other stuff as a pre-work, which is saves us a little bit of time. So I'd love to see anybody who could pop up and say where they're from. Let's see. Hey Karen. Hi Cindy. Oh, Karen, I'm just loving your posts and miss you like heck. So when are you coming back from Germany? When you're coming back to Florida, just give us a call. I'd love to have you guys over. Oh, gosh, this smells just incredible. Okay, so what I would do right now at this point in time, hi Kara. What I would do at this point in time is let these vegetables cook down a little bit. But I know that this is going to be cooking for about 5 hours, and I'm not terribly worried about how it all gets together. It's just to save some room and space, that's what I would do. But I'm just going to show you how the rest of it all pulls together, and then I'll add my spices. But it's really amazing. So before I start with the tomatoes, I'm going to show you the sweetener that I use. There's 2 sweeteners that I use, and one is honey. And then for those of you who enjoy to cook with a little bit of extra oomph, I use about 1.5 cups of rum. Now, when I used to make this, I would add a lot more, but I found that the honey really keeps it consistent after it's been frozen over a longer period of time. So I really like the honey and the consistency of how the honey really binds everything together. And then it's a natural, more of a natural sugar. Not that this isn't a good sugar, but you know, some people don't even like to cook with alcohol. So you're not going to taste this ever. It's just, you won't have the flavoring of it. And the alcohol actually cooks off over the time. But, so some people may not want that, but just so you know. Okay. I am going to throw in the very first batches of mustard. It's a mustard base and tomato based sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the mustards. I have a horseradish mustard, and I have a Dijon, and then just a regular yellow. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and plop that in. Okay. And what I'll do is eventually I'll run water through these so I can get all the goodness out of it. But just again, to save some time, I'll come back and do that at the very end. And then the yellow. So the other component is a vinegar. And I love, 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 love this vinegar that I found. It's one you can find pretty much anywhere. But what I love about it is it's a balsamic and it's organic. Love that. So I'm going to use this entire container. This gives it the tang, oh, where did that flavor come from? That's what this is. That's where this comes from. And yeah, I'm going to use I'm going to use all of it. You can hear I don't know if you can hear it, but I can, it's sizzling in there. I'll have to turn it down just a little bit. Oh, that's beautiful. And it gives it a nice rich color. And I know if you watch the live video that I did when we went grocery shopping, and I talked about the chow chow, that's one of the things that it's another one of those surprise. Ooh, where did that come from? Where did that taste come from? Amazing. Again, I wish you could just smell how this is all coming together. And I love, love, love how that garlic is smelling. Awesome. Okay, now here comes a little bit of heat. I have Tabasco, and I did the sriracha, all right? And again, I'm gonna wait to use I'll probably use the entire jar, container. But because I don't know how the jalapenos are or how the habaneros are gonna be, I'm only gonna use half so that it doesn't get too hot, even in our family. Now, Al, if you're watching, we know Al will, he'd say, oh, just dump the whole damn thing in. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna come back. Oh, I love sriracha. It smells so good. Okay, so I'll save that for a little bit later. All right, get that mixed in. Amazing. I don't know, it looks like, and I can't tell, but I either have to turn, because all the peppers are getting hot, I feel like I'm sweating. I'm getting a bath, a sauna bath. It looks like my face is getting red because of the peppers. It's pretty intense, the aroma that's coming out of here. But that's what you want, right? We're making barbecue sauce. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add my honey. And again, I know because I'm using 22 quarts that this entire honey batch is going to go in, right? So, there we go. You know, I used to use brown sugar, and I tried to stop using sugar altogether from my cooking and try to use something that's much more natural. And so that's why I started cooking with honey. And I always try to do a local honey, and that's what this is. This is the local honey from my Menorcan friends down the road. I don't know if you're from St. Augustine. Don't you just love that Menorcan fresh vegetable stand? I love it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stir that around, get that evenly dispersed. Now, if you can't find that quantity of honey or local honey, or you are still cooking with sugar, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'll show you a secret. And this is one that I bake with now as well. So it's an organic coconut palm sugar. And you can get that just about at any grocery store. But if you're gonna need something as a sweetener, something to cook with, this is what you really want to start using. Okay, now this is what gives the sauce a little bit of sour again, it's one of those hidden spices that you're like, oh my God, how did that come out? It's chow chow. It's basically a relish. So if you don't have a chow chow, but this is the brand that I bought. I'm not picky on any of them, but if you don't, you can just get like a sweet relish cabbage or something like that, because that's all chow chow is. And I got 2 containers. There we go. A little bit of water in that one. Okay. Beautiful. Now I'm going to stir that up. And you should see this. This is just a pot full of incredible deliciousness. And that's going to just cook down and cook down. And it's time to add the tomato products. So I have a wide variety, but we like our barbecue sauce to be, have a little bit of paste to it, right? So you want to find, for us, I'll use 3 cans of whole tomatoes. So I'll go ahead and dump those in. Yeah, I was smart enough to get those all opened up before we got started. My girlfriend, well, a couple of my girlfriends that come over, specifically Amanda is one of them, comes over and we fight over these, well, and Ivy. We would fight over who gets to have the whole tomato. Because always in a batch, I try to have in each one of those containers at least one. But we'll see who gets them. And then the next thing I do is I work with the puree. Okay, because the puree is going to be, you can do puree or even crushed. But I like the puree because it has a really thick consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and, here's 1. 2. I'm just going to save these in here because once you rinse them, you can recycle. And there's a crushed. So there were about 5 cans of the puree. And I have been known to actually make more into another, like ladle some of this out so that I can cook and make extra. Because if it doesn't have the right color and consistency for what we like, I'll just sometimes have to go in and do that. Oh, that just is looking phenomenal. Now, if sometimes it gets too liquidy, another excellent thing to do to help get the thickness that you want to have is to use a couple cans of paste. And I actually have a couple ready to go. I'm not going to put them in until I see how this cooks down a little bit because it's pretty thick right now, but I do have them ready to go. So I haven't opened them, so I'm going to wait on that. But they are ready to go. And then finally, I have a few cans. I have 4 cans over here of diced tomatoes, and that's what's going in right now, are the diced tomatoes. I've got 1 more can of diced tomatoes to go in. Oh, wow, this is just looking amazing. Love this. Love it, love it, love it. And the reason why you want to cook this for 4 to 5 hours is because you want all of these flavors just to get super emulsified, just all into each other, and you want it to cook down. So you're going to keep it cooking at 350, not at a boiling rate or a bubbling rate, but just right there. So maybe you might have to go to 325 in your oven, in this Dutch oven. 2 more cans of tomatoes, and then we are ready to do the final spices. So, well, let me stir that. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit closer so you can see what it looks like as soon as I get the final spices in. And it's just going to cook down. Just going to cook, 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 cook. All right. Now, I'm going to use Dan-O's. He's got 2 brands. He's got a hot, and then he's got more of like a savory seasoning. Both of them are low sodium, so I'm just going to kind of show them to you. And what I love about this one is this flavor is just unfreaking believable. So I'm going to use the entire canister, spread it over, and then I'm going to stir it all in. I can't wait for the new one to come. Okay, so I talked about a special thing that we're going to do at the end of this video. So I love how I'm getting feedback from the cooking show, and I love that you're sending me pictures of what you've got cooking and how you're duplicating the recipes. So I so much appreciate that, because it just is great feedback for me that I'm on the right path and kind of in my mission of trying to give back to people and you know, just kind of share my life with you. I really appreciate you sharing your life with me. So, if you share the end of the cooking video, if you share it with people, you will be, I have a case coming. I have a case of Dan-O's coming. So if you share the video, and you're one of the first people to share, you'll be entered to be a part of getting a free canister of Dan-O's. That's what I'm going to do with them. So, and you'll just like be so excited. But Dan, you're going to have to start managing the requests, because I don't think that I'll be able to manage all of them. So I'll connect you, or Dan, if you want to put in your way to connect to you, go ahead and put it in this feedback comments. That'll be easier. But if you're one of the ones that shares this video, you'll be one of the ones that, if I have a ton of shares, I mean, last week I think we had 10 shares, 12 shares. You know, I have as much as I have. So, until it runs out in my house, whoever the first people are. Oh, this is just smelling heavenly. I wish you could be in here. Well, if you're making it at home, you'll be smelling it too. All right, so we're missing just a few more things, and that is horseradish. And again, because I don't know the whole amount of what this is going to be tasting like, I'm not going to use the entire jar. I probably will at the end use all of it, but I just, you know, you always want to, you know, don't use all of everything until you see what the flavors are. But I use fresh ground horseradish. And then finally, the last 3 spices are these. Red pepper flake, chili powder, cumin, and chipotle peppers. Again, I'm going to go light on these because I already smoked, those peppers. So the chipotle, since these are kind of a smoked chipotle, I'm just going to use a little bit. So it's going to be, I'm going to say probably, that's about 2 tablespoons. Okay. But the cumin if I were to be measuring it, I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup. And I don't need to have all of that on. I'd actually say that's probably more of a 1/3 of a cup that I'm using in the cumin. And I'm a big cumin girl, so I might come back and add more after I see how this cooks down. And then I'm going to use my red pepper flakes. And I had a big jar. I have to use my guy here because my husband emptied my whole jar in here. I don't have another. I should have just kept the one I had in my cart because I thought, oh no, I've got a whole jar. I don't have to do that. But he poured all of them in here. So I'm going to coat this completely. Beautiful. And then my last ingredient, I'm going to be putting a 1.5 cups of rum. And then finally, while this cooks down, I've got some basil and oregano. With the oregano, all I want to do is use the leaves, but remember how I talked about before, if you use an herb, a fresh herb especially, what you want to do, if at all possible, is you want to cut right into what you're cooking with. And I'm using my kitchen shears, and I'm just going to cut nice little strips. And the reason being is because the minute that you cut into your fresh herb, it releases some beautiful savory flavors, and you don't leave it on the cutting board. You just put it right into the sauce, which is what you want to do. And this is a whole bunch. It was an entire bunch of basil. And I'm just going to get it all the way cut down to the stem. I love cooking. Any time that I'm using a tomato base of anything, I'll use fresh basil. Just one of those herbs that bring out and enhance the flavor of all the tomatoes. It would be nice if we were using fresh tomatoes and cooking them down. That would take about 8 hours, maybe longer. So we're using the can. But for those of you who like to do that, that's more than a wonderful thing to do. And so for the oregano, I'm just pulling the leaves off. I don't want the stems. So I'm just going to pull the fresh leaves and plop them right into there. And I'm using about 3 sprigs. Oh, the oregano smells so good. Love oregano. I have a friend who commented when I was grocery shopping, and she's local, so maybe we'll do a show together. She has a huge herb garden. It would be wonderful. I love how little baby these leaves are on the oregano. Really perfect. Not overgrown. Beautiful aroma. Okay, we are ready. So this, my friends, this is going to cook now. Let's see, it's 3:53. So in about, let's say 2 hours from now, I'm going to be checking the sauce. And I'm going to be checking for color. I'm going to be checking for taste. I want to have it just have the right amount of sweetness. I want to have it where it grabs, where I can pull it up from a spoon and it's stuck to the spoon, it grabs to a spoon. If it doesn't, you're going to add those cans of paste. And if you have a couple extra just in case, yours becomes a little liquidy. I don't put the lid on top of this, I just let it cook out. Because you want it to cook down, basically. You just want to have it cook down. And so I'll look for the taste, I'll look for the consistency, I'll look for the heat, make sure it's not too hot. And if it gets a little too hot, well, that's when you go to adding another pot, putting a pot on the stove, taking some out, ladle it out, and cook some on the stove, cook the rest in here, and just add more tomato. Possibly a little bit more mustard, but mostly it's just a tomato that you're gonna need. Really simple. Okay. Oh, it just smells heavenly. So now we just let it cook, 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 cook. Like I said, it's gonna cook down for about four hours. You may need to cook a little longer, just depends on how long you let. If you let your vegetables go really deep and really opaque, really cook through, you won't have to have the sauce cook as long. But you know, it really doesn't matter. You'll figure out the consistency you like. Now, a rule of thumb I want to share with you. When you go to actually freeze your sauce, what you want to do, oh my goodness, I realized I didn't put my chili pepper. This is a new one, so I have an old one in there. And I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of chili powder to it. Just go ahead. While we're talking, I can do that. When you cool it down, this is really important. You don't want to have anything too hot going into the freezer. You want to have it cool down before you even put it into your plastic container. So it will take some time, and I know tonight, my husband, he'll be helping me. We'll just be getting the sauce all containerized. But that's kind of the fun, you know, when it's all cooled down and you see all the hard work that went into, well, actually, it really wasn't hard. I mean, this is pretty simple. And when you know that you can make your own barbecue sauce and you pull it out and you're entertaining for the summer and you have your friends over and they say, where'd you get the sauce? Because you're going to have it in containers. Of course you are. A really cool container at the dinner table. You're going to say, well, I made it. And they're going to say, no way. But really, I mean, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy. That's what I love. Cooking is just, people think that it's hard because it's a lost art, but it really isn't. It's so easy. And it's fun to play around with your flavors and figure out what you love as a family. That's really cute. I have not a newlywed, but they've been married about 4 years. And she wrote into me. I loved her little story about, you know, how they're learning how to cook, because it just reminded me of what Brad and I went through when we were learning how to cook together. So much fun. Oh my gosh, that is just gorgeous. I've got to show you the sauce before we go offline. You're just gonna love it. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. Okay, so I'm gonna say thanks for joining us. Before I'm gonna just show you the sauce at the end, and I've got to hold on to the phone so it doesn't fall off my tripod over there. So thanks for joining us. We have not yet decided what next week's program is going to be, but my husband actually had a request. So I think it's going to be our potato salad. Now, everyone has a great recipe for potato salad. I mean, I don't know. I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve, so I'm going to show those to you next week. And I actually think it's smart because we're going into a holiday weekend. Having the barbecue sauce is great because we'll go into the holiday weekend having the barbecue sauce. And having potato salad, we'll have some of our best fixings ever. So I think we'll be doing potato salad. I might throw in this cucumber salad that we also have just because it's the weekend, and I'm sure we're going to want to have it as well. But for sure we'll do the potato salad. And I'm going to have a healthy version and I'm going to have a lighter version, healthier, and then one that is going to be a smaller version because my husband just, you know, has to have it the way he loves it. So I'll do it both ways. But I actually think the healthier version tastes better. So you'll see that next week as well. I appreciate you joining us on my show, Come Cook With Me. I love, love, love the feedback. So I can't wait to see what your barbecue sauce looks like. I'll take a picture in the feed and show you the end result and the containers when we put it all together in the containers. But remember, let this cook now for 2 hours, come back, well, you're going to have to stir it, but come back and really observe the texture, the look, the feel, the taste, and make sure it's exactly the way you like it. And the rule of thumb, right now, this does not stick. It's just liquid. So you want to let it cook down so that when you're brushing it on to your meat, it's going to have some thick consistency. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like. And we'll see you later. All right. I don't know, can you see that? Okay, yeah. Looks good. Look at how beautiful that looks. Oh my gosh. Too bad we didn't have a boom where you could really see the video of it all. Okay, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining me this week, and have a great weekend. See you later.